We're gonna help them with that. But if you ever want to jump into,
yeah, let me know, man.
I know you're into you love that kind of stuff. All right, cool. So here we are, interviews with everyday people. Interview number, I have no idea. We're not going to go into that because I always forget anyway. Yeah. But we're sitting here with Mike Danger. On short notice, I do appreciate jumping in and helping us out here. We talked for a while about getting you on because you have a lot going on and you're doing a lot of cool stuff when it comes to trying to get the music scene up and going with Rob Hampton on Goodfellas. So there's some cool stuff that we're going to talk about there, but I kind of want to dive in a little bit about who you are as a person. So if someone may know you or know of you, now they can kind of know more about you. Sure. But yeah, I appreciate it coming on last minute.
Hey, yeah, I'm flexible, baby.
Besides knowing this, did you hear? How did you hear about the podcast?
Well, I feel like we've been Facebook friends for like a coon's age now.
Yeah.
Like I think I just saw it was live one time. And I always check out live videos every time I see them, and I forgot who you were interviewing, but I was just like, oh dang, that's sweet. And then we met at Fulton's show, like officially met or whatever. But yeah.
We met a few times, but we didn't really like talk or sit down and talk to each other. And then I met you at Steve's shop, I think, once, and then we went to one of your shows with your band at Woody's. And it was a good time.
Oh yeah,
it was a really good time.
Good old Woody's.
So going into a little bit and kind of digging into, I like to talk a little bit. I know we did the last interview where we kind of like your childhood coming up, high school era, stuff like that. So dive us in a little bit. What was it like growing up?
I mean, I grew up in the Finger Lakes up in New York, a little town called Arkport, and really small. Like I think I graduated with like 30 or 35 kids or something like that. But I grew up in a dairy farm my whole life. Like my dad had one with my grandpa. Then they ended up getting out of it. I think like milk prices started dropping and they just wanted out. So that was like when I was in second grade. And then I think 5th or 6th grade, my dad just like shipped me off to my aunt and uncle's farm. And I just milked cows all the way until my senior year of high school.
Now, would you get paid or like would you get an allowance?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I didn't know if you're like it's family, it's free. You're getting like
well, and it was sweet because like I was working that young, so I was always like a little bit of money bags in school. You know what I mean? It was nice. I always had like the nicest paintball gun and all that stuff.
Now, would the farm, would you pasteurize it and everything and make your own milk, or would you?
No, we would like a big old semi truck would come and take it every day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was it used in like milk that we would know, or was it like?
I honestly have no idea. I don't think we were big enough of a farm for it to be like drinking milk. It more so went. My dad would hate me for getting this wrong, but I'm pretty sure it went somewhere to get used to like for cows and stuff.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I might be wrong on that.
Yeah.
That was forever ago.
And then how did you up to your senior year you were, a dairy farmer. What was did you play sports or anything, or was it pretty much like you have a job, there was no?
Yeah, I was really big into soccer back then. That was definitely my main thing. And I lived right by like a ski resort, so my dad brought me up skiing as a kid and stuff, and that was like my main two things. Everything else was kind of like, I'm a big bucket list guy, so like, I tried baseball, I hated it. I tried the golf team, definitely hated that. And then I did track a year, but then I ended up breaking my back, so I just kind of stopped all of it.
During track, you broke your back?
No, that was skiing. I got a couple herniated discs.
Oh.
Yeah. Silly stuff.
It's a funny thing you say about soccer. I played soccer from 4 till 16, 17, and then I coached from 20 till like maybe just even 2 years ago. And every single kid, like especially not so much the younger kids, but high school kids, they would come out to the soccer team maybe like their junior, senior year, and they'd be like, why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of people don't like the sport of soccer, but when they try it, it ruins them for other sports. Like I tried baseball after I played soccer, and I was like, this is boring. Like I want to run, I want to move. Like
for sure,
yeah,
dude, absolutely. I tried playing football in college, and I just hated it because it was like, okay, you run in for like 10 seconds, then you run out, And then you sit the bench and you're like, all right, just waiting to go back then. Then you go back in and then you come right back off. Mm-hmm. I like soccer because it was just nonstop going all the time.
And you feel like you're a part of the game more. Like like you can go out there and actually make a change. Like football, you're like, I gotta, like this 10 seconds I'm here, I better do something cool.
Yeah,
and then you get hit with a block and you're like, well, that was my 10 seconds.
Yeah, you get the wind knocked out of you. You're like, man.
I sucked when it came putting a helmet on. I couldn't get used to it. From playing soccer and like all the pads, I used to take all my pads out because I couldn't move in them. And then when I got hit, I felt it.
Yeah, no doubt. And like, you play soccer, you're not wearing a helmet, so you can like see your peripherals and everything. You got a helmet on, and it's like, you go to catch football, and it's like, where is it?
Yeah.
Breaking your neck just trying to look for it.
And then when you finally catch it, you're like, I got it. Nothing bad's going to happen. And there's somebody already hitting you. And you've never seen them coming. Yeah. It's the scariest feeling. Like, you're going to go for a slant across the middle. Do not throw it to me. I don't even care if I'm open. Don't throw it to me because I don't want that ball. Like, you're going to get me killed. Because you couldn't, it's so hard to get used to. I'm sure if you played your whole life, you develop a sense of it. But when you, like, play just 2 years and you play soccer your whole life, you're like, I'm not good with this at all. Can I get a more wider helmet?
Yeah, no doubt.
It was tough. What position did you play in soccer?
I was always stopper, and then my last 2 years I went up to like center field.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. And then, so graduating high school, you said you went to college for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I did the full 4 years, man. I sucked it up and did it.
What'd you major in?
Communications.
Nice.
I remember I was scouting out colleges and stuff, and I ended up choosing Mansfield University in Pennsylvania. And I was like sitting in all these like seminars, and I was like talking to other students and stuff because I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was like, yo, like, what's the easiest thing I could do? And they're like, well, communications is really broad and it's pretty much common sense. I was like, well, dude, sign me up. Like, I'm about it.
And then you became a communicator when it came to music. Were you always into the music scene, or like?
No, I always liked music. Mm-hmm. Like, I was always like a pop punk kid, like that. That's why I like Japan Force so much, because they play all that stuff from my childhood, But no, I never really got into it until I was doing music videos and stuff, and there was this videographer that graduated from Mansfield that brought me on to help him shoot a video. And turns out it was Gas Station Disco. So I came down and shot with him, and I just clicked with those guys so much that I started going on tour with them and stuff, and they were finally like, dude, why don't you just live in Rob's attic? And I was like, all right. And then I traveled with them for like another year, and they lost their guitar player, and they were like, dude, we can't find someone. Like, what if we just teach you how to play guitar and throw you in? I was like, yeah, like, where do I sign, man? I'm in. So that's kind of how it all started for me.
Now, you started pretty much from scratch? Like, you didn't know how to play guitar before that?
I could play like 3 chords. I could play all small things on guitar, like awfully.
Yeah.
And
they just worked with the entire.
Yeah, no, I just sat in my room for like 4 months, just like, God, I'm still like that even when I play. I just
Fulton tried doing that with me. He's like, yo, how do you feel about learning bass? I was like, I'm 32 years old, working a full-time job. There's no way I'm learning bass right now. Like, I'll just help clean up. Like, that's
for sure. Yeah, it's a struggle, man.
And then you have become the front man of the band.
I would like me and the lead singer would switch on and off. Mm-hmm. Like, he would do like 4 songs, I'd do 2. He'd do 4, I'd do 2 type thing.
Yeah. It was a good time. There's a lot of bands that are kind of like, you kind of started a trend there. So there's a lot of bands that are very similar to that, where they do like covers, but they do their own version of the covers. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of cool stuff there. I don't know a lot of the members of the band because I'm terrible with names, but the one who stood out to me because is the drummer was a beast.
Oh, Ryan Soretti.
Yes.
The guy is wild, man.
An awesome drummer.
Dude, and it's crazy how we found him, because when Rob Hampton decided to leave, we were like, because we got booked in Alaska, and Rob was like, I ain't fucking going there, but you guys can. And we were like, well, what do we do about a drummer? And we kept searching and searching and searching, and then someone was like, do you know there's a drummer that lives 2 houses down from you?
Was it Fulton? Because Fulton said...
Fulton, yeah. Fulton, we were in the music shop, and he told us. And we brought up Ryan. Ryan literally played, like, he hit the drums, like, 3 hits, and we were like, yeah, dude, sold.
Yeah, you're in.
Like, holy cow.
He has a great look, great personality, and he's a monster.
No doubt, man.
And you said you traveled a lot. You guys went to Alaska, and you were looking to do that eventually soon?
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is There's a couple close friends of mine up there that play a bunch, and they're just gonna fly me up to sing and switch on and off the guitar with them and stuff.
Nice. So you're kind of like you're kind of doing like the Randy thing for a little bit, where Randy was just like, I'm just gonna go to Alaska for a couple months and be in a band, and then I'm gonna go to Detroit and be in a band. Like,
yeah, for sure.
You're plugging away at that. That's cool.
For sure, because for the most part, I got out of my system, but there's still like a part of me that's like, well, if I could play like 4 weeks out of the year, and that's it, it'll get out of my system, and I can focus on other things.
Now, coming from a background where you didn't really have a music and you were kind of just like a friend with a band and throwing in, I know for me, experience, like Steve's like, come up and just do one song, and I like first couple times I like shit my pants. Like I was like, there's no way I can do this. Like I was freaked out.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like you hear your own voice, and then you're in like a packed room, and you're like, I'm done. Like,
yeah.
Like, did you ever have those moments?
Oh, for sure, man. I'm already like really self-conscious dude, so like going in front of a couple hundred people, I was just like, oh no. But then like you get a couple shots in you, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm alive.
The drunker the room is, the more confident I was.
Oh, for sure.
Because you're like, yo, they're hammered. I can literally make up words and they wouldn't even know. And Steve taught me that. He's like, yo, you know how I know, like, as the room gets drunker, I'll make up lyrics to the songs I'm doing. And if no one catches on, like, if someone laughs, I'm like, they're sober, but they're into it. But, like, everyone else just sings along and they have no idea I'm changing the words. And he's like, all right, by, like, third set, I'm like, I got to catch up with them now.
No. Yeah. Well, the last band I was in with, it was called Light Up the Moon. We were playing like Ocean City Secrets there, and there's just like 700 people, and they're all drunk, going crazy at like noon. And I just looked at the singer Joe. I was like, dude, I could say anything, and they would go crazy. So I just went up for a song. I was like, poop, and everyone's just like, yeah.
He said poop.
Wild, man.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a cool experience. But it's tough. Like it's not easy. Like you're like, oh, I'm gonna be in a band. Like, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. For me, it was nerve wracking. It was terrifying. Like I would go up and I only did like a half a song, and I was like, oh my god, this is terrifying. Yeah.
For sure.
So you said you started with that band, and then you said you moved on to Light Up the Moon.
Light Up the Moon.
And so what band would you say you're in now, or you just kind of do your own thing, or?
So I just decided, like, I'm 28 now. And I guess the video thing is kind of where my career is.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like, I'm 28, I've been single for years, like, I kind of need to settle down a little bit. So, like, as far as music goes, I'm looking around, I guess, but at the same time, I need to focus on doing my thing and building a future a little bit.
I think you have a cool little outlet. I think we're very similar in certain aspects, how, like, we've each of us have, like, you were more like in the band where I helped a band. We met other bands, met other people, connected. We have very good personalities that people kind of gravitate to. And now you can use that, your personality, your communications, and now your skills to start new things and help other bands grow.
For sure.
Which I think is just as cool as just being even a frontman in a band. For me, it's more satisfaction if I could help someone than doing something like that. For me, anyway.
Yeah. No, I agree, man.
Yeah. So like, it's really neat. Like, especially like how you were kind of putting photos out there, and I was watching like, hey, there's a group of us here. We're fixing up Goodfellas. Hopefully, this turns into something. And I was I'm all about that, because knowing how hard these local musicians work, and the local music scene is starting to come together more as like a community where everyone's kind of cool with each other, because it wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
So everyone's starting to support each other, and these younger bands are coming up, and they're all like, let's work together, like, open for me, open for us, and then it's like, I got a show, do you want to open? Like, everyone's working with each other, which is really, really cool. And I think a place like Goodfellas can definitely cash in on that.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Times have changed with that stuff. Like, have you ever seen 21st Jump Street?
No.
Oh, man. Well, there's a part in it. It's like these undercover cops go back to high school. And
the original one or the remake?
The original one.
Okay.
Like, Channing Tatum was like a jock when he was in high school, and Jonah Hill was like a nerd. And they go back to high school like 5 years later undercover, and it was like cooler to be a nerd than it was to be like an arrogant jock.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like where the music scene is going. Like, it's cool to like help people now, whereas like back then I feel it was like that rock star status, like, I don't talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's kind of like going away, and it's like cool to be kind of nerdy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like help out, and
I give a lot of respect when it comes to that like I'm not saying that maybe they're not the forefront to it, but I think their attitudes and their approach to it helped, and I give a lot of that to when Crowbot and Cyanide were coming up.
Yeah,
they were very close to one another. They were friends. They worked with each other. If one did an interview, they were always plugging the other. And they were both at a point where they were making one. They were both making it, and they had that support from one another. And I think other bands seen that. And if you talk to Bishop or any of them now, they're just like, hey man, you need help or anything? Like they're just really down to earth, cool guys. And to see a band make it and then say like, we still support you guys. You know what I mean? I think that changed the culture.
Yeah, absolutely, man. They still competed a lot, but it was like...
It was a friendly competition.
Healthy.
It was a health... Because even like, Jaybird and like, there's like, oh, they're doing this? We got to step it up because they're doing it. But it wasn't like, oh, we got to be better. Like, well, it was, but it was more like they bounced off each other. It was a friend, like you said, a healthy, friendly competition, which is definitely good. And I think more bands going and seeing other bands and saying, oh, that's a cool idea. Like... and working with each other, I think it's awesome. It's really, really cool stuff.
No doubt, man. I'm loving it.
Yeah, anything?
I mean, I don't know a whole lot about music, so...
Well, any question? Is there any topic in there you want to throw in, or questions you have yourself?
I mean, definitely more in, like, the film side of things. So, for how long have you been doing, like, the film side of it?
I guess a little short story about that. I was pretty much failing out of college really bad, but, like, I was on the cross-country team in college, too. We were making these, like, jackass videos. And I was just in the computer lab, skipping class, like, doing stuff. And one of my teachers came in and was like, hey, man, like, you haven't been to my class in, like, a week. Like, what's going on? And I was like, oh, dude, I've just been working on this. And I showed him, and he's like, okay, well, you realize you can make money off doing stuff like that. And I was like, nah. Like, really? And he was like, yeah, dude, you could film weddings, music videos. And I was like, oh, dude, sign me up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then I just started doing that little by little and just learning off YouTube. And I think it's been like 7 years now.
Wow.
Nice. 2011 I started. Well, I guess that's like 8.
Do you have a collection of all your videos that you've worked on? Do you still have a lot of that?
Yeah. I just save them all on a hard drive.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There's thousands at this point on
those
there.
Those jackass videos. I remember I was obsessed. I didn't do them because I had no balls, but I remember watching them like crazy, and then it sparked a lot, like the CKY, and then
dude, if you talk to a lot of videographers, a lot of people started off doing that,
like skateboard videos.
Yeah, because I remember the first time I ever saw one, I was just like, man, this is a group of friends having fun and making money off it, and like my big motivation with the video thing is like, someday I'll probably have a kid and I'll be able to just show him my life story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I grew up with my grandpa telling me all these cool stories, and I'd just be a kid like, oh man, I hope I have stories like my grandpa when I'm older.
Yeah.
So that just kind of like fueled everything for me. Like I want visual stories to show my kids someday and stuff.
Awesome. Kind of leave your mark too.
Yeah. And I'm gonna have the dopest home videos ever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have like my little son someday like jumping off a couch with an explosion and shit. Like.
I just watched this thing. It's kind of on topic, but it's not. It's more like a photography thing where this guy shared it on our one page where this guy takes his toys, his action figures, and like he has like stormtroopers, and he'll put them in like puddles, and then he'll hit the puddle with like a burst of water, and then and he's taking photos, so it looks like stormtroopers are like up to their waist in like a lake with their guns, and like they're getting shot, or he'll like light sparklers or fireworks.
I saw the sparkler on it.
Yeah, and I was like, that's so silly,
sweet,
but it looked awesome. Like it looked like he got it from a movie, because it's like, so if you're creative enough, I mean, and just like you buy one camera or you buy a microphone, like if you're have enough determination or pride or like just enough anything, creativity, you can make something out of anything, you know?
For sure. And that's kind of like, I struggle a lot with it, because now that I'm doing video full time, like I'm so focused on the work side of it, and it's still creative and I'm having fun doing it, but I don't get to do that fun stuff anymore, really. Or when I do have time to do it, it's like, oh, I'm just kind of burnt out of it right now, you know? So it's kind of like, I've been searching other avenues of work to like try to find the love for it again, or more so like the fun of it again, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, like, just putting ideas out, like Brewfest, like he's gonna kind of go around and do like videos and stuff to add to it, because we're doing an episode of our banging beers there at Brewfest, but like going around like Pottsville, they have all those events, just taking like videos and edit them together.
For sure.
That's a good way to get your name out there, and like like you say, you're doing stuff for bands and shows and music videos. Like your work is definitely being seen.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
It's really, really good. Like one of the first ones I seen you did was the Meow Boy video. Yeah, really, really good stuff. Like it was, because obviously it's in our group of friends too. So for us, it was even funnier.
Yeah,
because we know them and stuff like that. But you have your own style too. Like you kind of have like a punk rock and roll version of your film.
For sure.
It carries to your videos.
Yeah,
which is neat.
And I'm trying to find, like, I've been doing that style for a while now, and I'm trying to find ways to be different and stuff. But yeah, that Meow Boy video, Randy called me and he's like, "Yo, dude, we're gonna do like a green screen thing," and I was like, "I've never done that before. I don't know if I can do that."
Mm-hmm.
So I showed up, and it was just him and Bishop in this garage, and we just shot it. And I was like, fingers crossed on the way home. Like, but I'd never really even met or worked with Bishop at that point.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, dude's in Crowbot, like, oh man, I'm screwed." And then I ended up working, and I remember I sent Randy like a draft, and he was like, "Oh, dude, it's cool, but think like me." I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "I want you to put nuns in it. I want you to put demon cats, censored porn." And I was just like, it just went off in my head. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I got you."
Yeah, and it honestly, now that you say that, it's even more of a compliment to you that I actually thought you only did the second video. I didn't know you did the green screen one. Just the way that was edited, I thought 100% that was Randy.
Yeah.
So like how you just told me that story, like Randy said, "Think like me." You nailed Randy's head.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like I think Randy's one of the most brilliant people I ever met. But like we have a lot of similarities when it comes to things, but I'm just a more very tame version of Randy. So like when he told me to think like him, I was like, "Oh, duh, like, that's brilliant."
Yeah.
So,
And the song is called "Fuck Myself to Death," and the premise of the song is that he time travels or goes to another dimension and finds a version of himself and has sex with it,
and then it dies.
and it dies. And that's just Randy's brain
Well, actually, it was a dream
that his friend had.
Yeah, Marcy had,
yeah.
and just insane.
Randy's he's hilarious. I love that guy to death. I'm so happy he's doing his thing again, and he's with Fate, and he's on the stage, because that's where he belongs. He belongs there. He's a.
I went on their first tour with him, man, and there was nights where I'm like sitting there filming, and I'm not even looking at the camera anymore because I'm just so captivated by Randy on stage. Like he just has that thing that just sucks you in, and he's like a little virus that gets in there. And
honestly, I think the best thing that you can do, and I think, you know, if people were willing to put you on, it would be like just going on a tour with a band and not just filming them on stage, but in the bus.
Oh, for sure.
And like.
For sure.
And like making a DVD or a documentary version of like our first tour. Mm-hmm. You know, because honestly, like if you told me that Fate or Crowbot or someone had a video of their tour and you can buy the video for like $20 and it's you did the editing and filming and you kind of get like a behind the scenes like in the studio or, you know, just life on the road. I think that's a cool inside thing. And I think you would be really good at something like that.
I've always wanted to do that. It's just one of those things where sadly it comes down to money. Like leaving for like a month to do something like that, it's like for me to justify that with bills and stuff.
100%.
You know, it's a bummer.
Yeah. That would be something really cool.
I would love to do that type of thing.
Yeah. Like I said, with your video skills, man, I mean, there's endless stuff that you can, like, just even locally, how you're saying, like, hey, we kind of talked about, like, with local business or events and bands, like, you're doing the right things, man. It's gonna, I feel it's gonna catch on for you.
Yeah, it's going good, man. When I joined Gas Station, it was like a 4-year break of doing it, except for like Gas Station, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So when I left Light Up the Moon, and I think it was August, I was like, oh shit, I don't know if people are still gonna remember me or not. And somehow it just like kept going, and it's going well. So I don't know, fingers crossed, man.
Yeah.
I always worry that like two things I always worry about is like technology is getting more accessible, so like anyone can pick up a camera and do it anymore, and trying to figure out how to like separate yourself from everyone else and I don't know, just market yourself different is the hard part. But
marketing is definitely a thing. I think when it comes to separation, like I kind of told you, like I've seen people make videos, I've seen people do stuff. You have a style to your stuff. And I think your style shows through. Like he's a very good film guy, and he's also getting a lot better with photography. And he bashes himself a little bit when he comes to his photography. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, yeah, but Nikolai, he shoots photographs as if he's shooting it for a movie. So when he takes a photograph, it's like
cinematic.
Cinematic. He has like a cinematic style to his photos, and they come out really, really good. And I'm like, you have a style, like you. And when people see your thing, like you're like, oh, that's a Nikolai photo, like you know what I mean, like
for sure.
And that's something that I think a lot of people can miss out on early, where they just do like the generic point the camera here, shoot, and do their thing. Like you kind of have to have your thing to it, and I think you're ahead of the game when it comes to that because you have like the Mike Danger style. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too is I bring a lot of personality when I do that stuff. Like I don't know, I'm more fun to work with than I am talented, I guess, in a way, you know. But no, man, keep going with that. We should work together.
Yeah,
sounds good to me.
I need people around here for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, like how you're doing like the green screen, like he teaches kids how to do all that kind of stuff.
No way.
Yeah,
like he went to college.
You teach adults?
I mean, I can.
Sign me up, man.
But yeah, like, and that's the cool thing with this. Like, we started the podcast. I'm like, we can network with people, and like, not only just can it help us out on our end, but we can work with other people. Like, I'm all about it. Like, people are like, oh, did you hear that this podcast is in town? I'm like, yeah, send them my way. Like, I'll work with them. They're like, oh, isn't there, like no competition here? There's a million podcasts. Who am I? You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
You know, I probably plugged in before in a different show, but I'll do it again because I love their stuff. There's Murder Me Bro. They're out of Pottsville. And their whole podcast is different, like serial killers or famous murders or stuff that was unsolved, and they are like hoaxes and stuff like that. It's a really good podcast.
Dang.
It's called Murder Me Bro. And then I just reached out to the guy who does school county campfire stories or campfire, like there's a guy out of Pottsville. He's won like best podcast in the county for like 2 years in a row.
Really?
But I just don't think a lot of people know there's other stuff out there.
No,
you know what I mean?
have no idea.
Like there's just a lot of cool stuff that like working with culture to culture. They're always looking for stuff to people come in there and film and videography. Like they're always looking for that kind of stuff because their message is they're trying to help people get out of drug addiction or depression or anxiety. Sure. So like a lot of that stuff, like there's so many different venues and the support system in our area is getting so much stronger. Like when I go out and people are like, yo, the podcast is amazing. It feels nice and it keeps you encouraged to keep doing it.
For sure, man. Yeah. I feel like a big part of it for a lot of people that do this type of thing is, I always say it's like chasing appreciation. Like, there was a chance I had to move out to LA with an underwear brand I used to work with, and I was shooting for like the Miami Heat and the Buffalo Bills and stuff, and it was really cool. But it was one of those things where like they get that all the time. Like there's no appreciation factor there. And then I would shoot for like Gas Station Disco, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, dude, thank you so much. This is the best thing in the world." And like that just like changes everything for you.
Because people they like I said, the appreciation is much stronger. It's like, oh, here's just some guy with a camera, and you're like a bush full of a bush full of roses, and then here you're like the rose that grew from the concrete. You know what I mean? Like it's awesome. And like I said, I think this area, when it comes to people who are in the eyes of creating, or the eyes of positivity, or the eyes of wanting to make a change, I think a lot of us are starting to link up more, and I think that's a good thing for our area.
Absolutely, man.
And you know, and I hope other people that aren't maybe in that circle, you can be a part of that circle. Just kind of take pride in where you're at. You know what I mean? Like that's my big thing. Like you can hand me a check tonight for $2 million or millions of dollars. I would not leave this area. I'm proud of where I'm from. You know what I mean? Like, and I want to make it better. And that's kind of what I'm doing. Like that's what I'm trying to do. That's like my main goal to this is just
for sure, man.
Is find gems and find people who have either a story or something that's going on like you. Like I hope more people watch this and say, oh, maybe I didn't know Mike did that, and now I can contact him to get you more work or more you know what I mean, more exposure.
For sure. And it's just like meeting people too. Like I always talk about bucket list stuff. Like I'm addicted to doing new things and that story thing, man. Like I was just talking with a couple months ago, my buddy Tyler Brown, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, I deliver pizza at IwEP. Like, it's a cool job and it's decent money." And I was like, "I've never done something like that before." So I just started working there, and
Just
it's
delivering
like,
food.
Yeah, just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
And it's fun, man. I meet people all the time, and I don't know what I'll do next, but I'm just always searching for like a new adventure. Man.
Yeah.
It's nonstop.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because it's not like a typical job that people are like, I would like to do that. But if it was bigger area, like, could you imagine like being an Uber driver, but like you put in your description like, hey, I'm a YouTube live.
Oh, for sure, dude.
Uber
I've thought
driver.
about that.
You know what I mean? Like, and then you get in my car, it's live on YouTube, and we can have like a sit down talk in the car while I'm driving you somewhere.
Absolutely,
Like,
man.
I think like the weird things like that, like taking. Like I'm fascinated by like how I said everyday people. Like there's someone who wakes up every day, goes to like a weird, or not even a weird, like a normal 9 to 5 job, but there's something in that story that someone can listen to, like, whoa, you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Like it's
Absolutely,
and
man.
that's the kind of stuff I try to like tell people. Like everyone's like, oh, I'd love to be on your show, but I have nothing to talk about. You're 100% wrong. I guarantee you do.
For sure.
Your life is not as boring as you think it is. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
And your story, how small you may think it is something that someone can listen to and be like, oh, that motivates me to do something else.
For sure, man. Well, it's like you were saying earlier, like, whether it was you or kids, like, they start playing soccer and they're like, oh, man, why didn't I do this 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Like, this is awesome. Like, that, I feel like people need that motivation to, like, do different things.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm always just trying to do something different. Like, whether it was joining cross country or football, never touching a football before, just because now I have a story to tell my kids someday.
Yeah.
Like, I just crave to be that old man on a porch, like, let me tell you what, James, back in the day your grandpa delivered food, it sucked. But the people were cool.
Yeah. Like, you can't relate to me at all. You didn't do what I did. You have no idea. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you played football? Cool. I did football, soccer, baseball. I cross country. I was in a band. I did this. I was a singer, a guitar player. Like,
Yeah, and
like I covered all bases.
not even like to boast about it, but just like to motivate my kid. Like, I'm always just thinking in the future like that. Like, oh, my kid wants to be a football player someday. I have things I can do to help him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my son likes music. I have ways to help him.
Yep.
You know.
And that's a testament to you as a person or your personality. It's a very ballsy thing to step out of your comfort zone and do something you've never done before, especially at even a later age. You know what I mean? Like for me anyway. Like if you're like, Tony, I want you to go and take up ballet, I'd be like, nah, not doing that.
Yeah.
But like for you to be like, never done it, let's fucking go.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I
no.
think that's a cool personality trait.
Yeah, and I grew up with my parents, and they just work so stinking hard, and you know, a lot of times they have nothing to show for it, and I just feel so bad, and it just like motivated me. Like, I don't want to end up like that. Like,
Yeah.
You know, and if I could, I just wish I could show them half the things I've seen. But the best thing I can do at this point is, you know, pass
Film it.
it on down someday, film it.
Yeah, you can show
know.
everybody what you're up to just because of your filming skills. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
You know, people are living vicariously through you. Like same with here. Like people are like, you know, you look like you don't sleep ever. I'm like, I get it in, but you know, what I mean, like I'm working hard. Like I wanna put my staple in. I wanna make an impact. I wanna make a change. I wanna help somebody. Like if one person could watch an interview and say, hey. Like it happened the other night. We went out to see Bad Maggie and Look Alive at Strikers, and I had a few people come up to me and like, "Yo, man, that interview was really inspiring." And I was like, "Which one?" And they're like, "It was a friend of mine." And he's like, "Oh, the Meg interview." I was like, "Well, she's right there." You know what I mean? Like,
for
and
sure.
like these, like that's what I'm saying. Like when I sit down and talk to people, it's not like these are people you're never gonna see. Like people can bump into you in Walmart and be like, "I seen your interview, man. That was awesome." You know what I mean? Like we're everyday people. We're people like. In our area, like everyone has something cool going on, and if you're sitting in a spot, and this is a perfect example of this, if you're sitting somewhere and you're like, man, I have nothing going on in my life, take a lesson from Mike here and jump at it. Just go for it.
Yeah, man.
You have nothing to lose. Time is too short. If you say I'm going to do it in 10 years, you probably won't do it. Just go for it.
No doubt.
You know, I procrastinated on this podcast thing for 5 years. Like I did my first interview 4.5 years ago and sat on the idea with everyone telling me it was a good idea. Steve, Kendra, you know, Frank, Tom, Dave, they're like, that's a cool idea, do it. And I was like, no. And then I sat down with him one day, I was like, this is my idea, I just don't know how to go about it. And he's like, let's do it. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? Let's just go. And we're 4 months in and we're growing. You know what I mean? It's
For
just
sure.
Literally, the conversation happened, and then like within 2 weeks, I walked in, and most of this was here. I was
Yeah,
like,
That's cool.
all right, we
That's-
went full deep. Like, there was no shallow end. It was just
yeah.
Yeah.
And I turned it up to 11 and I just went for it.
Well, you were saying earlier how it's crazy to like look at your first podcast and look at to it now, like how things change and stuff.
It's a progression.
That's everything I do. I always dive in deep because I just like I like to be overwhelmed and I like to fuck up.
Yeah.
I love messing up, man. Like I fucked up pretty bad yesterday. I rear-ended someone at a stoplight on accident. I was only going a mile an hour though. Like the light
So no
turned,
damage?
Yeah.
All right.
Light turned green. Well, there was like the number 2 from my license plate was like on their bumper, but it's gonna be cool. But anyways, like I called up my mom and I was like, what do I do about this? And she's like, what did you do this time? Because they know that I constantly like sabotage things in my life, so I can just learn from it and be like, okay, now if that ever happens to my kids someday, I'm gonna know how.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't even realize about myself how weird that is. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just always like looking out for a little danger someday.
Yeah. So my thing is I probably won't have children, so I always will take my lessons and I try to pass them on to anyone else. Like
For sure.
Yeah, like coaching soccer. I was like, I'm not only gonna just make you a good soccer player, but if anything you ever need something later on down the road, like I still have players that reach out to me like, hey coach, I'm going through something right now. Can I just talk to you? Like,
Yeah.
it's a cool feeling that you've made that impact on somebody enough
Absolutely,
that they're willing
man.
to talk to you. Like, it's still something that happens to me very often, and I'm 100% for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's good. It's like I said, that's another thing about you that I like. Not only are you always trying to better yourself, but you're always trying to give advice. It may even just not even to little danger, just to other people out there.
Yeah.
You're not being selfish. You're not holding on to it. You're like, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
I like it a
man.
lot, man.
And with the social media thing, it's like everyone's so self-conscious about like they want to post like their best life and stuff like that or whatever. And I don't know, I just remember in high school, like me and my friend would always sit with like the loser kids at lunch and stuff because we weren't that popular for one, but it was just cool because like you would see these kids be so scared and then start to come out of their cage because like, oh, the big kids are talking to us right now, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I just love.
It's a cool feeling getting somebody out of that.
Yeah.
Pulling somebody out of their shell. That's something I always try to find those people that are introverted. Like, oh, I'm not gonna go do that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
for
come
sure.
on, we're gonna go to a show. And like, what do you mean? I'm like, we're gonna go to a show. And like that night, they kind of lived like they were part of the band, or they were like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like yo, that was kind of wild. Like, fuck yeah, jump in the van. Like anything like
Sure.
that. Like. It's a different, like just pulling somebody out of what they're normally into, and then taking to that next step is just a lot of fun. Like,
No doubt.
Like you go out with somebody and they're very calm, collected, and you're that guy in the bar like, "What's up, everyone?"
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
live like a rock star for one night.
Have you ever seen the movie? It's a Tim Burton movie, Big Fish.
I have not.
Oh, it's like Tim Burton's most underrated movie.
Yeah.
But it's just about this grandpa that told stories to his son his whole life, and they would be like kind of exaggerated or whatever, but his son got to a point where he was like, Dad, I'm sick of you telling me these stories, like shut up. And at the end of the movie, I ain't gonna ruin anything, but it pretty much just like the whole thing came together. Like his dad was just trying to be immortal, like through his stories he'll live forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I just love that, like helping out people. They're gonna remember you the rest of your life, man, and you're
Yeah.
never gonna die because of it.
That's kind of, I always tell Heidi, I'm like, I always said to myself, I'm gonna be bigger than what I am. Like, I want to leave a mark. I wanna leave a legacy. I want to leave an impression. I may never be famous. I never maybe be world renowned. I may never change the world, but if I can change one life, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like that, and that one person will go out and be like, hey, this person did this one thing for me one time and it was really cool. And if that person then pays it forward and does it again, like you created a chain reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like a butterfly effect. Just like a cool thing is, growing up, I was a basketball player, and I grew up in Monty City, which is a big basketball town. And I remember I had to always go play at one of two parks because if I went to the other parks, they were the bigger kids, they were talented, and you didn't play there. If you sucked, you didn't play at that court.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, I will never play there because I'm never going to be that good. So I would just play at this court, and I would work, and I'd practice and stuff. And then I met a group of friends, and they were really good at basketball. And they brought me on their team, and I was like, wow, this is really cool to feel accepted. And I'm not getting kicked off because I'm playing with kids that are way better than me, but they're carrying me, but I'm getting better because I'm playing up to their level.
Yeah.
And then I remember we'd go to the court, and there'd be little kids there, and we'd walk up, and they'd see us, and they go, get your ball, let's go. And I'm like, where he's going? And they're like, well, you guys are here to play. And I was like, no, that's not a thing here anymore. Like, here's what we're going to do. There's 4 of us, bigger kids. We're going to split off in teams of 2. And then we'll pick up another 3 kids on each side, and we'll have a 5-on-5, and then you guys can still play, and we'll hang. Like, it was like a big brother thing, you know?
For sure.
And it was something in that area that was never really thought of or done before.
Absolutely, man.
And it passed on.
And then there was like, I got the nickname Danger from doing just that. Like, there was this kid on the ski team, just a little nerdy, annoying kid named Cody. I love you, Death Cody. But when I hurt my back, he like skied up and he's like, "Whoa, you're like Mike Danger or something." That's when Facebook just came out, so I was like, well, my mom was like, "Don't put your real last name on there, man. Like, people steal your identity." So I was at my buddy Colin's house and I put Mike Danger, and I went to college and it just blew up. Like,
yeah.
People wanted to party with me, and I was like, I've never drank before.
You have named Danger, you better go for it.
Yeah, so then it like created this brand for me, and helping out Cody and like being by his side, he changed my life more than I ever changed his, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's those are the small things in life that people take for granted, like, and like I always tell people, like, just do it. Go out of your comfort zone a little bit. Pick up that guy that needs the help. Like, pick up that kid. Like, even if you're walking on the street and you see someone, you're like, you can tell as another human being that person's not having a good go at it. You know what I mean? And it doesn't take much to be like, you want to come hang out tonight? And then be like, what? Like, we're going to be hanging out at this bar. You're with us. Come on. I'll buy you a couple drinks.
For sure.
And that person will be like, that's cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people walk by me all day long. You know what I mean? Like, it's for me, I get that gratification, and it's nice. It's nice to do. Yeah.
I agree absolutely, man.
Awesome. So you were talking about bucket list. I'm just trying to think of some questions here. Bucket list. What are some ones that are on your list that you haven't done yet?
I guess I don't know. Like, I guess like if we're gonna go cliche ones, I haven't gone skydiving yet, but I'm kind of saving that. Like, if I'm gonna go skydiving, it's not gonna be like Pennsylvania or something. It's got to be like Key West or Hawaii or something like that. But
yeah.
I don't know. I think a lot of my bucket list things are just career-wise. Like, try to think of something I haven't done that I'd like to do. I'd like to try teaching, like being a teacher. I'm waiting for like the tattoo thing to become a little acceptable. I wish I could go back and join the military and just do boot camp, because I think that's a story and a half right there.
Yeah.
Like, if I had it my way, man, if I could go back, I would join military just for boot camp and then hurt myself or something so I could get out quick.
Yeah. Yeah, my little brother's in the military now, and it just terrifies me.
Yeah, it scares me too, man.
Like, I hope the world becomes a peaceful place so he never has to see war. Like, that's just
Oh, for sure.
Me and my little brother are 11 years apart, so I like raised, like, it's not even like a little brother, like, I raised that kid. Like, that's like, if I ever had like anything experience, if I never have a kid in my life, I did with my brother. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then he's like, I'm joining it, and I'm like, oh, cool, what are you gonna be in? He's like, the Navy. I'm like, whew. He's gonna be on a boat. Oh no, I don't want to be in a boat. What are you gonna do? I want to be a medic, so I'm gonna be frontline with the Marines. I'm like,
man.
are you like? I'm super proud of him.
Kid.
Super proud of him. But he's like, that's his thing. Like, that's his, because, you know, how we were raised. Like, our father was a volunteer his whole life, volunteer firefighter, paramedic, like, always giving back to his community. Like, he would leave his family to run into a burning building of someone else's to try to change a life. And we didn't follow those steps, but it was always something engraved into us to try to help. So that's his step. Like, oh, I could have been on a boat, but if I can go and help this way, that's his way of doing it. Yeah. It just scares the shit out of me.
Firefighters. That is... How much work does it take to be a firefighter?
You go to a basic essentials class. You do a couple weeks of training and and classwork and book work, and you get your essentials, and then you can do like another class called burn building class. But literally, like, that's a thing kind of. Every local fire department right now they're kind of in a deficit to find those members.
Yeah.
They're always looking. You can go to like a firehouse by your house and be like, how do I become a member? And they'll probably set you up with their training classes and then show you where to, because the essential classes right here in Frackville, like they have a huge school. They have a huge building that you can do all your training and stuff in.
They have a pole.
No problem. Yeah, those days are probably, there's no more sliding down poles. I mean, maybe an old school one still has it, but I don't think that's a thing anymore.
I gotta find the old school one.
But yeah, that's it's a big thing. Like it's, that sense of community is definitely been instilled with me.
No, I might have to look into that.
Did you just add something to your bucket list?
That's the thing. It's weird.
I want to run into a burning building.
It's not like a bucket list. Like I have all these things written down. It's just like, oh, I've never done that before. I need to try that.
I always my fire. I did a little bit of firefighting. I joined the firehouse with my dad, and I couldn't shake the stigmata that I was, Blackwell's kid.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to do this. So I got out of it. I went to a few fire calls. I would help outside, like just with basic stuff. Like I need this tool. I go get the tool, hand to him, or take my empty air pack to the guy at the truck, and he'll refill it with air. Like small stuff like that. But then I wasn't able to do that because I didn't have a certain amount of training. Even just being a gopher, I wasn't allowed to do that anymore. So then I got out of it, and then I joined another fire company in Frackville, and I joined with no one knowing who I was, like except like 2 members. And then I went to the first class, and they're like, "Hey, you're just gonna go with this guy. He's gonna practice using the hose." I was like, "Oh, cool, we're gonna spray the hose." Like that's all I want. Like the Dane Cook thing. I just wanted to spray the hose. And then once I sprayed, I was like, "I'm over it." Like, but we went into the class, so it's like a giant high rise. Like they kind of have at the school, they have it designed after like a high rise, so like a big staircase. And me and this guy, we put all our gear on, all the stuff. We didn't have Air Master stuff on, but we went up like 8 flights of stairs with this hose. Yeah. And then it's fully charged. It's heavy. It's kinking. Like it's the best workout of my life.
I bet.
And then the guy went to hit the hose, but I was looking like, oh, he's not holding it right. And as soon as he hit it, it kinked back, and it went right over his shoulder, and the entire water just hit. It was like getting punched in the face, hit me right in the face. And I grabbed it and I like pushed it down. I was like, you gotta hold it like this. And they're like, he's like, this is your first day on the job. I was like, just trust me. You gotta. And he's like, all right. It recharged it, did a whole thing, and he went to open it again. Bang, kicked it back, hit me in the face. And I was like, oh. So then we're sitting there, and then the third time he went to do it, and I grabbed it, but I didn't get it in time, and it hit me in the face again. I was like, yo, we're switching spots. He goes, this is my day of training. I was like, you just killed me 3 times.
Yeah.
You were switching. And then we switched it, and I was like, yo, and I held it, and I was doing it, and then the guy, like, there was a few people up there, and like, yo, the new guy's getting it, like, Tony's doing a good job, and the whole 9. And then the other guy, the one guy on training that day who knew who I was, kind of goes, look at little Blackwell. And they're like, Tony Black, are you a junior? I was like, well, I can't be here anymore.
Yeah. Like, dude, you have like a perfect name to be a firefighter, like Blackwell.
Yeah.
You could be in Game of Thrones too.
I had a Spanish guy at my last job. When he would always hear like he would like, Blackwell. He goes, that sounds powerful. Like Blackwell. Every time he see me, Mr. Blackwell. That's how he always said it. Sure. Yeah. Not as cool as Danger, but
around here is Mike Danger. That's like a big thing with that. It's like I worry a lot that people hear that and they're like, oh, he's arrogant. So I never introduce myself like that.
Yeah, like I'm Mike Danger.
I just say Mike. I'm Mike. And I wait for them to hear someone else call me it, and like they realize I'm a goofball at that point, and they're like, oh, okay, that's just Danger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have you ever done like, well, what's your last name? And you say, oh, like, Danger's my middle name.
Well, see that I don't tell people the last name, man. You're lucky I told you.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying a word. I got exclusive.
I always joke though, man, because it's like if I ever changed my name on Facebook to my normal one, people would be like, who's that? Like, no one would know me anymore.
So on Facebook, I go by Anthony. We talked about this last interview too. We go by Anthony, and then people will go to my wife and be like, "Oh my God, like Anthony's doing like really cool stuff," and she'd be like, "Who the fuck is Anthony?" And she'd be like, "Oh, Tony, yeah, he goes Anthony on Facebook." Like, so like Anthony's like kind of like my undercover.
For sure.
Yeah.
That alter ego going.
And then people. So if I'm out somewhere and someone goes Anthony, I go, "All right, social media or work?" And then I turn around and go, oh, hey, yeah. And then if I hear like, yo, Blackwell or Tony, I'm like, all right, what's up? You know, it's a different.
And then here I am, someone yells out Mike in a bar, and like 17 people are like, what?
Yeah.
You know,
No, not that Mike. Yeah.
struggle.
A lot of cool stuff. But now, film-wise, what do you have in the works, or what do you have stuff going on that you're excited about, or?
Well, I'm changing it up this summer a little bit. I'm gonna do a lot of weddings. I've always kind of steered clear of those, just because I don't know, it's too stressful. Like,
Because you're doing a big event for someone's life.
yeah. Like music video, I can. Oh, you didn't do that good enough. Let's do it 17 more times. Like a wedding, it's like I got that one chance, man, to get them kissed or whatever, and I only screwed up once, but it was cool. The couple was cool with it, but it's just a little too stressful. But
I can imagine. I DJ'd for a friend's wedding, and it was like a wedding in a backyard, and they're like, all you have to do is play Here Comes the Bride, and I was just like, all right. It's queued up. I'm just gonna hit play. And like it was just, I couldn't imagine taking photographs or video. Like that would be like stressful.
Yeah, and then like, you know, photographers are still like the main deal at weddings. Like for video in a wedding, it's like I'm kind of like background stuff. Like it's cool if my video is more like behind the scenes type stuff. So like I have to watch out where those photographers are too. Like if I mess up their shot, like that's on me. You know what I mean? And a lot of them are very flexible about it, but some are like just crazy about it, so I'm always like on my tiptoes, and I just hate feeling like that.
Yeah, 100%. I'm excited to see some. Obviously, I won't see wedding videos, but I'm glad you're doing more stuff with it, and it's gonna be cool stuff for you. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I will say though, since you bring the weddings up, I went to my friend Kelly's wedding last year, and she had somebody walk around doing video and stuff, and the whole time, like I was watching the wedding and like. After like when we were eating and stuff, but I was watching the camera guy at points too. I was like, that's a nice camera. I wonder what lens it is. So you may run into people like that who are going to come up to you and be like,
I warned him about you already.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I went to my buddy Tyler Brackman's wedding this past summer. He married Tony Wee's sister Kendall, and
Tony, he's a big fan of the podcast.
they good old Tony.
I love that
One
guy.
of the first people I ever met here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a good dude.
But there was a videographer there, and I was just like watching him the whole time. I was like, oh god, I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
Turn your head.
When you were filming for the boys upstairs at Roma, I was like, what kind of camera are you using? You're like, oh, this is the Canon 5D. I was like, wow, that's a really nice camera. Because I was researching cameras at the time, and I was just like, holy shit, like that's you're not fucking around here.
Yeah, well, I was telling you earlier, man. Like me and technology aren't a thing. Like I just kind of wing it. So like people tell me like, oh, that's a really nice camera. I'm like, is it? God, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll talk to another video. I was telling him, I'll talk to a videographer, and he'll be like, yeah, the aperture of this and the f-stop and stuff, and I'm like sitting there like, yeah. Yes. And then they say something, and I'm like, oh, twisty button. I'm so bad with that stuff.
Yeah.
but as long as it looks good,
Yeah.
the end result, it doesn't matter if you know all the technical stuff. At the end of the day, if you know that twisty button does this awesome look,
Yeah.
that's what matters.
Yeah, for this when we were doing all the research for this, he was like, "Yo, you have to get this and this and like not so like getting it, but like I was bugging him for like a month straight, and I was like, well, listen, if we're sitting down and we're doing an interview, and if it goes an hour or 2 hours, I can't use like that camera has a better look, but I'm not gonna get up every 5 minutes and hit the button like
For sure.
So because it like kind of ruins the flow. So like I'm like so that like the research that I went into that was like I don't know how to like the soundboard. I still don't know the the stuff with that. But if like for the first couple episodes we were plugged into the stereo out, not the monitor out. So then like the camera would literally like it would take everything out of stereo and double it, so it sounded terrible on the like there were so many things that we learned along the way, but like yeah, it's crazy.
That's the exciting part though, man, because I don't know, you just build appreciation for like what you end up becoming.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
A lot of like people come up to me like, yo, your podcast is really good, like, you know, we listened to it and the audio sounded really good, and I was like, oh, it's because the audio came off this, but like watching it had like a hiss, or it had this, like you know, you had to fix that. I was like, we didn't then, but we did. Like, are you ever gonna go back and fix that? I was like, probably not. And they're like, why?
Yeah.
And because I'm really lazy when it comes to stuff like that, or two, because I want someone to like go back and be like, all right, we watched this interview, like we're gonna go back and watch this one because it looks really cool. and then they like go back and like watch the newer one and be like, holy crap, like they got good.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like
for sure.
Like so I'm a huge, like with podcasts, I started like when I was starting to do this, I like obsessed myself on listening to all these podcasts, and I you know, like Joe Rogan, and I was a huge Howard Stern fan. Like they're just their interview skills to me were is exactly what because they don't seem like I'm sure they probably do, but it seemed like they don't come in like they're good at looking not prepared. So a lot of it to me, like I kind of prepare myself, but I'm more like off the cuff, let's just go with it type thing. Yeah. And it's tough sometimes, you know. And so when I started watching like you listen to Howard Stern when he first started, you listen to Joe Rogan's very first podcast, and you're like, wow, this is dog shit. You know what I mean? Like it's really bad. And then you listen to like their new one, and you're like, oh, this is cool. Like a multi-camera, and this one's switching camera shots and stuff like. All right, I know where I want to be. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like right now I'm in a kitchen, but eventually we'll be in a studio one day. You know what I mean? Like it's just the growth of it excites me.
No, same here, man. I love that type of thing. Mm-hmm. Like even for me, like doing like a music video or something. Like I used to like plan ahead and like prepare myself, and then something would go wrong. Like something always goes wrong. So like. If you plan out so much and the plan goes astray, it's like it creates like a panic. Yeah. Where if you just wing something and get used to winging it, like then you become a master of winging it.
That's kind of what
Which also can be bad, but at the same time, like you're so good at troubleshooting when things go wrong that it always comes out as success. You know what I mean?
I mean, honestly, like that's kind of how I view like acting stuff. Like I know you're not really supposed to do this like when you're on stage and stuff, but I always rehearse my lines and stuff for the possible fuck up, because in life nothing's ever going to be perfect with that. Yeah. And if I go through it memorizing those lines as different variations and stuff, if something were to happen, I know that this line's coming, so I can cover somebody if something happens or whatever it is, because I've never like it's either right or wrong kind of thing with it. So
the last thing I want to kind of cover here, unless you guys have anything else you want to go, is just I always say like putting something out there, speaking it and putting it into existence. Is there any like let's say like music video or band? Is there anyone out there like locally or of like that you would want to work with or do something with that maybe they don't know about?
I think they know about it, but have you ever listened to Montango?
I have not. No.
I'm pretty sure
I heard good things about them.
They're like this pop punk band in Pottsville I just found out about recently. But they're really good, man. I didn't know like there was a pop punk scene in Pottsville. The drummer of that, what's that band that we saw at Strikers?
Look Alive.
Look Alive, yeah. The drummer of that is the drummer of Montango, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, they're really cool. I'm not sure what they got going on, but I think they know I'm out here wanting to work with them. But yeah, pretty much like I don't know. I'm just always down for everything, man. Yeah. I'm just so free spirited about that type of thing.
Well, have you ever come up with something off the cuff and you want us involved, we're definitely with it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're gonna be at Brewfest, so if any footage you want to get or you want to come in anything that way, I mean we're down with any of it.
When is that?
May 19th.
Is it?
Yes. It's in May.
So what's April 20th?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It may be April 20th.
I was gonna say because I'm pretty sure.
It used to always be in May because we got married and then a couple weeks later it was like the Brewfest. They moved it to April.
Okay, because it's somewhere on there. I thought there was going to be a conflict because I have to go do a shoot with one of the the Bloomsburg Theater Ensemble that following weekend, but I thought it was during Brewfest.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's April 20th.
Where?
He'll probably know. I have so many dates in my head. It's
for sure, man. Yeah. I ended up getting to a point where I have 3 big calendars in my place now. Like one's video, one's all the other side jobs, and then the other's just like cat food. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just so scramble-minded. I can't fit it all in one calendar.
That's my only problem. So like everyone's like, "Oh, can you come do this weekend or do that?" And I have like a little book. And I put everything in the book, and then like, why do you put it on your phone? I'm like, because it's too many places at once. Like I always like, let me get my book, and then I'm like,
yeah, and it goes back to the technology thing, man. Like I just broke mine the other day and lost everything, and I went to get a new one, and they're like, what's your iCloud? I was like, what is an iCloud? And they're like, you have to have it to set up a phone. I don't know.
I'm a Galaxy guy, so I just put my Gmail account in, which is so easy to remember all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just so bad with that stuff, man.
Anything you want to wrap up with? Any questions or?
I mean, it kind of goes off of what your question was, but it was more of like, what kind of thing would you want to do that you haven't done yet, in the sense of like, because I know you've done like music video type stuff, but is there a certain, like, I don't know exactly what the,
like a genre of
I guess genre
video
would be
stuff?
what it would be like, versus like a big blockbuster film versus like a short film or a stop motion film, any, or like,
I don't think I could ever do like a movie or documentary or anything like that. It's, for me, that's just a little too time consuming. Like, I'm very impatient about my stuff. Like, I want to
See, you could do a documentary, but you need someone to do the research, and you just there to film it.
Yeah. Either I don't even like filming that much. I'd rather be the one editing it.
Yeah.
okay.
It's my favorite part of it. But
The editing part?
yeah.
Oh my god, I hate that part of it.
I'm
And ours are easy. Ours aren't bad at all.
No.
I'm just a big loner, man, so I just love being in my house with my cats and just sitting at my computer. Like, every year at Christmas, Walmart has like a big sale on Christmas lights when it's over. So my apartment is just filled with these like flashing lights everywhere, and it just like, I don't know, I just get in the zone. And
I always hate the rendering process. And then I'm gonna go to bed and let it finish rendering, and then I'm gonna wake up and then I can just upload it to YouTube.
Yeah.
And then I wake up and the rendering's like error, and I'm like, oh my god! Like I hate my life.
Yeah.
So I did that one time for an interview where I was supposed to put one out for a Friday, and I woke up and it errored, and then I did it, and I lit it again, and it was at 99%, and I was like 3 minutes away from walking out the door to go to work. I was like, it froze at 99. It froze at 99. This is supposed to be up at 12. The person I'm interviewing was supposed to be so excited for this, like the whole 9. And I walked out of the room and I was like, oh my god, what do I do? Do I bring my laptop to work? And then I came in, it was like 100% done. I was like, oh my god, thank you. Whatever higher power is there.
Yeah.
So many times that's happened to me.
That freaks me out.
Yeah. And I mean, it's even worse, I feel like, if you're doing it on a laptop, because if you're doing it on a desktop, it's like, well, it has to stay here.
Yeah.
But I've been rendering videos out and stuff, and I'm like, but I gotta go to work. So do I bring the laptop and have it render on my seat as I go?
Yeah,
because I have that
for
ability
sure.
to do it, and it's
Yeah.
like, I just wish I could cut that out and be like, no, it needs to stay here. I need to go.
Yo,
Yeah.
here's the thing. We're so instantaneous with everything in the world. Like, why does rendering take 3 weeks? Like, that's so...
Yeah, well, and then I just got my new camera, and it's got all like the 4K and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and
I couldn't
that
imagine
just
rendering.
adds even more time,
Yep.
and it drives me nuts. And
Yeah.
I've had the same iMac for like 9 years now, so it's
Okay.
like
Yeah.
somehow it's still kicking, but
I got the new iMac Pro last year, and it doesn't go any faster to do 4K, so you're not really...
Dude, I wish I could show you my iMac right now, man. It's like the screen is completely shattered off. Like there's like pieces of glass just hanging, swinging and stuff. Well, I tried to fly it to Alaska, and I took pillows and I like duct taped it, and I walked down with it like a carry-on, and they were like, you can't do that. So I was like, so I had to empty my suitcase and put all these put a bunch of socks and underwear in my carry-on bag, put that in there, and I was like, look, this computer's my life. Like,
I can just a guy with pillows, duct tape. Clearly looks like the worst bomb of all time. You can't do that. Really?
dude, I need to get a tag that just tattoo like hot mess here, so everyone like, oh, okay, he's one of those.
That is
Yeah,
hilarious.
so I get to Alaska and like my bag comes on the conveyor belt. I'm like, all right, 50% chance here. Pick it up, shake it. I just hear glass just shaking in my bag. I was like,
Oh.
so we got back to the band house and I opened it up and there's just glass everywhere and it turned on. And I was like, oh, dude, thank God. And I tried to get Delta to pay for it and they wouldn't. So, yeah, I just left it like that because I was like, well, dude, that's a memory, man. That's
Yeah, that's hilarious.
now every time someone sees it, they're like, you should think about a new computer, replacing the screen. I'm like, oh, dude, that's a good memory.
But on the last thing you want to we wrap up here, is there anything you have going on? You want to plug anything out there? You want to shed the light?
I mean, I've been working at the Goodfellas thing. We've been rebuilding that, so that's been really cool. I think the last show we had there The last 2 shows were really good. That Fate's Got a Driver.
Yep.
Randy's band was there. That was for the last minute show. Great show.
Punk Rock Prom.
The show before that, one of the bands brought in 200 people themselves.
Wow.
It was at Apollo 88, if you heard of them.
I've not, but I heard it was a good show.
Yeah, they're young kids from like Schuylkill Haven playing and stuff.
The music scene's insane. It really is insane. The stuff that, like, the talent that's out there is unbelievable. And it's crazier to even think that there's even better under 21 bands in our area that no one knows about.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's what drew me to this area so bad, because like being from the Finger Lakes, it's like wine country. Everyone's happy. Here, it's such like a depressed coal mining area, but like depression fuels creativity. So like you go home where everyone's happy and there's like no creativity really. Then I come here and like it's depressing as could be, but everyone's just so creative and like
it really goes 2 ways. So I always tell people, as you could literally just have a bad day in Schuylkill County, and it can make or break your life. Like, do you fall into the drug alcohol addiction path, or do you become more than you're supposed to be, or do you just take the straight and narrow where you're a 9-to-5 person that works and goes through their life, which is nothing wrong with that.
For sure.
But I mean, there's definitely a fork in the road, and how you're saying, like, that creativity path is something in this area that is even more prevalent, because people can say, all right, I don't want to do the drugs and alcohol, I don't want to be a 9-to-5 person, but I really enjoy doing something.
For sure.
And it just, and that there's, like I said, like you're saying, there's musicians, there's photographers, there's artists, like painting, like film, like there's actors, actresses, like there's so much cool
comedians
stuff. Comedians
coming out
everything.
of the woodworks now. It's cool, man.
There's so much cool stuff coming out of our area, and it's like, and then you even have the people who maybe taken that other path that says, holy shit, this path is here, and then they backtrack and change it up. So it's definitely, there's a lot of cool stuff there, and that's definitely what we want to showcase here.
For sure. And even like the creativity side of it, like press coming in. To me, that's like its own creativity.
Yeah.
Like, that's an art to me. And then they're bringing in writers to put their books in there. They're bringing in musicians to
I want to get there so
like,
bad.
You haven't been yet?
No, I have not.
It's cool, man. At first, I was a little intimidated because I am a little bit hot mess type of dude, and that place is just, it's gorgeous. And I walked in and I was like, oh man, I feel a little dirty being here. But the coffee is so stinking good. The crepe things are good. I've never had a crepe. It's good. It's real good.
Yeah, I want to get in there. I heard. I just want to. That stuff, like, that's the kind of stuff I want to definitely put out there. Like the business. There's so many business that are gems in our area that, like, not many people know about, and it's like, you should go look at that. Like, like Culture to Culture is my big one now that I'm just really trying to push out there. And everyone's saying, like, the coffee does, like, they have like live music and stuff, and so I definitely want to get out there and get an idea, and maybe talk to them about doing some promotion stuff. Here's a quick one. Barbershop in Monte City, Frackville here, the number 3. Just got my hair done today. Awesome barber, like the straight razor. They have the black mask. They give you could, like, it's just like it's like a cool, like, modern day barbershop. The guy who works there, Fazio, a really nice guy, always trying to reinvent himself, do cool things with, like, getting, like, with hair. He's always learning and getting more creative, so definitely check him out too. That was a really cool experience today.
I've been thinking about doing that. I mean, I'm bald as could be, but I could go there and have him, like, shave me the right way.
And line you all up. Like, I never had my eyebrows done before. Like, not done, but, like, you kind of, like, wrangled them in a little bit. So I was like, I never had that. That was kind of cool. It was a straight razor. Like, it was nice. It was a cool experience. And you leave there, you have that, like, the stuff, that the beard oil they put on and the product.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't like if you go to a beauty salon and you walk out there smelling like pretty. You smell. You walk in like it's a cologne, like a man smell.
Yeah,
Like, this is like that barber shop. You know what I mean? Like,
instant alpha male material.
Yeah,
right
yeah. You leave
like,
there like, all right.
I love doing stuff like that where you walk out of doing something that's like, oh, I'm such a man right now.
Yeah, it's so cool. I check it out. It's right there. It's right on the main drag, right by the post office there. The number 3, it's called. So if you're looking for a cool barber locally, that's there. But thank you so much for coming, especially last minute, man. It was a blast. Anything with the Goodfellas thing, if you have a band or you want to get them exposure, send them our way. We can always bring our stuff there. You know what I mean? Cool. We'll just bring our cool table, set it up, set the lights and cameras up. Yeah, it'd be awesome. And then this way you can kind of get your footage because you won't be behind it the whole time. You can actually be behind your camera.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe that's something we can work out. Like if we do like on the scene stuff, especially if we do more stuff at Goodfellas to promote shows and stuff.
Yeah.
You can kind of film for us, and then you have your thing, and then we'll work some cool stuff out. And let's just I enjoy what you're doing, man. I really do.
Thanks,
and I wanted
brother.
to tell you that, and I'm glad we were able to sit down. But like, I like people that are trying to be positive and make a change, you know?
Yeah.
And it's cool to see other like-minded people doing the same thing. So keep
Right
doing what
back
you're
at
doing,
you,
brother.
brother.
All right. Thank you
yeah.
so much.
Of course, man.
All right, man. That's gonna wrap it up here for us with this episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.